Coming up on This is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada.
We live in a beautiful part of the world, and Cape Breton Island is home to some of the country's best golf courses.
We're in Nova Scotia for the 10th event of the season, the Cape Breton Open, where the beer is cold.
Sláinte, guys. Welcome to Big Spruce.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
The competition is hot,
Oh, that one was killed.
and the season's first two-time champion is crowned. All that and more next.
Cheers, guys.
This is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada.
You have the opportunity to experience our rich culture. We hear time and time again from people who come here to golf that we are a very welcoming island. We have great hospitality and a very unique heritage that people can experience when they come here.
Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, a quiet retreat for all those searching for rich culture and beautiful coastlines. With scenic views and one of the top-ranked public courses in the nation, Cape Breton Island is the perfect destination for golf fans from across the world. Bell Bay Golf Club is nestled into the natural features of the land. Overlooking the Brador Lake, this Thomas McBroom masterpiece makes Cape Breton the ideal stop for Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada and the Cape Breton Open.
We live in a beautiful part of the world, and Cape Breton Island is home to some of the country's best golf courses. We have a great golf experience to offer every level of expertise in golf and some of the top courses in Canada.
Cape Breton, a golfer's paradise. But golf isn't its only treasure. These shorelines were once the quiet summer getaway of American inventor Alexander Graham Bell.
Alexander read this book called Baddeck and That Sort of Thing. Inside this book, the author, Charles W. Warner, describes it as a sleepy little town where every day feels like Sunday afternoon. And Bell was so taken by that he wanted to see it for himself.
Players Cody Blick and Rico Hoey decided to dive into the history books to discover what truly inspired this famous inventor's greatest accomplishments, with a VIP white glove tour at the Alexander Graham Bell Museum.
So, what do you guys know about him?
Just the telephone.
Just the telephone. Oh no! We want to show you everything else.
Is there more?
There's a lot more. So I will admit, the Wright brothers flew first, but we had the first flight in Canada in Baddeck, 1909. On the frozen Baddeck Bay, the only place flat enough to fly an airplane is a frozen lake. Let's go up and see the Silver Dart. This is the Silver Dart 2009. It is an exact replica. The men went out of their way to make sure it was an exact, but the day that it flew back in 2009, it had to have two minor differences. It had brakes and a seatbelt. We have an even more special tour for you other than the main one. We're gonna go to the white glove room and actually let you pick up some of the artifacts.
Let's do it.
Excellent. Let's go. So welcome to the room that we call the parlor. This is one of our white glove rooms, and it's really the special one because it shows him as a person. This is Mabel right here. She was his student originally, but they fell in love, and this is actually a self-portrait she did at the age of 18. Alexander later took a picture of it so that he could carry it around with him whenever he traveled. His love would be with him. On the back, he wrote, "The girl for whom the telephone is invented."
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Outstanding, the stuff that he did, long before people thought everyday common stuff. It said every great idea that was ever created by mankind would have been thought about before the 1920s, and he was part of the reason for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a great time showing you around.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Thanks again.
Great to meet you guys, and good luck with your golf game.
Thanks. See ya.
See ya.
As the final leg of the season winds down, players are showing up with their A game in Cape Breton for the Cape Breton Open. While the competition heats up, a crowded leaderboard emerges. Among those in the hunt, Lee McCoy closes with a 5 under 67 on a vintage Nova Scotian afternoon.
It was a tough day, it was a grind. It's definitely a mental challenge out there just to kind of stay in it. The course is set up really well for it.
The 23-year-old carded 6 birdies to just 1 bogey, solidifying a spot in a 5-way tie for second alongside German native Max Rottluff. Rottluff posts a bogey-free 567 in just his 8th start of 2017. American Jay Woodson climbs into a share of the lead with a 6-under-66 on day 1 thanks to a bogey-free round and a double eagle on the front 9. Making his 10th career start on the Mackenzie Tour, the 35-year-old shares the top spot with fellow countrymen Blake Sattler and Cody Blick. Next on This is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada.
Welcome to Big Spruce.
We check out one of Cape Breton's best-kept secrets, Big Spruce Brewing Company. And later, we continue the second round of action at the Cape Breton Open. All this and more, next. This is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada. Nestled high above Nyanza Bay on the Bredor Lakes sits Breton Fields, a certified organic farm that produces some of Nova Scotia's finest brews and houses its flagship brewery, Big Spruce Brewing. And before teeing it up at the Cape Breton Open, Blake Carter and Michael Cartrude stopped by this local gem to sample some of the region's liquid gold.
Gentlemen, welcome to Big Spruce Brewing. I'm Jeremy White.
Michael Carter.
Michael, nice to meet
Carter,
you.
nice to meet you, sir.
Right on. Here's a couple of hats for you. Get you sorted out with that.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, welcome. Come on in. We'll have a look at what's going on today. Right out of the gate, we weren't just another brand up behind the tap handle. We were a brand with a story. We were on farm, we were certified organic, we were growing our own hops, we were the first brewery from Cape Breton. There's lots for people to talk about. We're really riding that big wave of craft beer. It's bringing people back to Nova Scotia. The trend has always been sort of outward migration. People coming back, cool things happening. Craft beer is a big part of that. We were unprepared for what happened. Thought we could take 5 years to get to 80,000 liters a year. We did 80,000 liters in our first 7 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was just insane. We were able to expand to a 5,500 square foot brewery across the street where we've put in an independent 40-barrel brewery where we're producing all the big brands and in fact canning them through an automated canning system as well. This is the treasure trove here.
Oh, whoa.
Wow.
The honey hole.
Yeah, these are slight mist pills, so they're slightly light.
Oh, thank you.
And we just put them aside for staff here, but that's about as fresh as you can get there. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome to the air-conditioned part of the tour. Take it between your fingers like that and open it up. Then you smell it. Smell it. Just put it in your nose.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Isn't that like a nice fruity, hoppy IPA sort of smell?
Yeah.
On a good harvest year, we'll produce about 600 pounds of dry hops off this yard. It allows us to do a couple of seasonal specialty batches of beer where we exclusively use hops, grown and harvested 150 feet from the brewery.
Yeah.
Last summer, we became the first brewery in modern brewing history in Nova Scotia to brew a beer with entirely Nova Scotian produced ingredients. Never been done before. It was quite remarkable and a real sort of culmination of a lot of hard work and a lot of risk taking as well.
After touring the farm and brand new brewing and canning facility, the boys refueled with some gourmet eats from Cruisin' Cuisine and, you guessed it, more beer.
Holy crap, this is so good.
Not much talking now.
No.
All right. Having a good feed.
Food and beer. Does it get better?
And golf.
And golf. Does it get better?
Golf tomorrow.
Golf tomorrow, yeah, this is right now.
Food and beers today. Say hello to my little
This
France.
is the best flight I've ever been on.
Cheers. There we go.
Well, guys,
you again, sir.
thanks for visiting us today.
Absolutely.
I wish you well in the tournament.
Thank you, man.
Come back again and drink some more beer with me, all right?
Absolutely. Had a great time, buddy.
Be well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Take care.
California's Cody Blick shoots a second consecutive 6-under-66 to take the second round lead at the Cape Breton Open. The 23-year-old carded 7 birdies to just 1 bogey on the day for a 1-stroke advantage over South Carolina's Will Stark.
There's one club that matters, it's the putter. It just started rolling and got off to a hot start this morning. Kind of kept it going from yesterday.
Making just his 19th career start on the Mackenzie Tour, Blick's best finish came in 2016 at the Cape Breton Open, where he finished T10 thanks to a final round 64.
anytime you're in contention, it's awesome. It's good to be back in the mix, and I can't wait.
In the chase pack, 22-year-old Robbie Shelton. The University of Alabama standout climbs up 19 spots on the leaderboard into a tie for third thanks to a 5-under-67 on day 2.
It's been so windy, I kind of slowed my swing down and just trying to hit fairways. After I slowed it down on the range, it felt really good, and then just kind of ran with it on the course. But I'm in a good spot.
Canadian Jamie Sadlowski holds steady in a tie for 8th after posting a 3-under-69.
I've done a real good job of just keeping the ball in front of me, and there's some holes that are gettable and some flags you can go at, and there's some that aren't. So I think you just got to keep it, in front of you and try to leave yourself the next easiest shot you possibly can.
Meanwhile, first-round co-leader Blake Sattler slips back into a tie for third with a 2-under-70. He sits just 4 strokes back alongside Shelton, Todd Bake, Brian Dwyer, and Hunter Stewart, while Lee McCoy falls back into a tie for 12th and Max Rotliff tumbles into a tie for 22nd. After the break, a mano-a-mano showdown to determine long drive supremacy. And then it's moving day at the Cape Breton Open, when this is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada returns. This is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada. Before the start of competition, Canadian Jamie Sadlowski and American Jake Johnson went head-to-head during the inaugural Srixon Cape Breton Long Drive Championship at Highlands Links. With national pride on the line, the tension was palpable.
It's a large weight to carry, I would say, especially playing against a world champion. But it's a fun event to come out here and do. And I'm a big fan of national pride, so it's good to get out here and represent the U.S.
I've obviously represented my country on numerous different accounts on the world stage. So anytime you can do something a little bit smaller, but in your home country, is obviously pretty fun.
Longest drive is going to be tough. We don't know what the conditions are out there yet, but I think I can give Jamie a run for his money. I know he's a 2-time world champion, but see if I can keep up with him today.
I'm just going to try to hit 5 golf balls on the face, and we'll see what happens.
After local Brian McDonald claimed the top prize for longest drive by an amateur, it was time for the big dogs to take center stage. First up, Jake Johnson.
321.
Jake Johnson, 321.
Woo! Then it was time for the former long drive world champion to show off those championship skills.
Is the grid stop at the edge of the bunker?
Yeah.
Oh, that one was killed. 332.
Oh, come on.
Yeah!
Setting regulation.
Crushing my reputation here.
As the top amateur in the competition, Brian McDonald earned the chance to challenge the pros.
Go easy on me, Brian.
Ooh.
Ooh, the back leg
Slipped and he roasted it.
Oh.
There you go.
288.
Brian McDonald, 288.
288. Swing, man.
I had one 313. I got it more high the last against those guys than straight out. Unreal how far they can hit the ball. It's crazy. It's great knowing that they're big long drive hitters, and I had a great time.
But with a drive of 332 yards, Jamie Sadlowski clinched the inaugural Srixon Cape Breton Long Drive Championship.
I think the wind kind of kicked up a little bit, so you needed to hit a pretty good shot that didn't have a lot of spin. I hit a couple good ones up the left that were hammered, and the one I got in was okay, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to get one in.
It was fun, man. It was a good event. It's cool to see the local community come out here and watch it and have the amateurs out here swinging away at it. Some of these guys are long, man. It was cool that we were able to come out here and compete with them.
Canada prevails in Canada, baby.
This time. He takes round 1.
Familiar names crowd the leaderboard on moving day at the Cape Breton Open. Playing together, former Walker Cup teammates Robbie Shelton and Hunter Stewart climbed to the top of the pack with matching 67s.
Playing with Hunter was always fun. We hadn't done it in a while, but it's always fun to play with your friends. I got off to a hot start. Then after that, it was just a cruise all the way to 18, and he was doing the same thing. He was playing really well as well.
Shelton starts the day 4 strokes off the lead, but quickly catches up with 36-hole leader Cody Blick with 4 birdies on the front 9. while Stewart takes a slower and steadier approach. The 24-year-old goes bogey-free on the day with 3 birdies on the front and 2 down the stretch.
It was very comfortable. Was able to play with one of my better friends out here, and the guy I've played with as a teammate, as a partner. So it was a lot of fun. We kind of fed off each other, and we both kind of played solid, and it was great to see good golf.
Both Stewart and Shelton birdie the par 5 18th to finish 1 stroke ahead of Kramer Hickok. Hickok, who currently sits number 1 on the order of merit, fires the best round of the day, closing with 5 birdies on the back 9.
I want to play against the best players possible, and I want to be up against the biggest challenge possible. That's the beauty of this game. Each week, if you're up at the top, you're playing against guys who are on their A game. So whoever I'm paired with is going to be playing good, and just look forward to the challenge.
Kentucky's Patrick Newcomb, already a winner this season, also moves into the conversation with a bogey-free 4 under 68, alongside former Oregon Ducks standout Zach Fushi, while Cody Blick falters with a 2 over 74 on day 3, falling back into a tie for 6th. Up next on This is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada.
We've got what's known as the hardest shot in golf.
James White gets us ready for the beach, and then final round fireworks explode at the Cape Breton Open after the break. This is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada.
Hi, I'm James White from Mackworth, Georgia, and this is Golf 101. Welcome to Golf 101. Today we're in the bunker, and I'm going to talk about 2 different bunker shots. The average length shot that we have out here on tour, about 30 feet or 10 yards. And then we've got what's known as the hardest shot in golf, the 30-yard bunker shot. So this is the first shot of the day. It's our 30-foot bunker shot. It's about our average length bunker shot we see. I'm going to explain to you why I think this is actually one of the easier shots in golf, because we don't actually have to hit the golf ball here. We're going to choose a wedge between 60, 58 degrees. We're trying to hit the sand with the back part of the golf club. So where I'm thinking, my thoughts are hitting the sand like this. We want to hit the sand like that. We're not trying to dig like a shovel. So we'll set in here with a pretty wide base, kind of like a driver stance, but a little bit pointed to the left for a right-handed golfer. For a left-handed golfer, it'd be to the right, so an open stance. Ball's about in the middle. Club face is open before we even take the grip. That'll help us to hit the back of the sand, or back of the club on the sand, without having to manipulate it much. So we'll just kind of set in here like this. When we take it back, we're just focusing on a spot behind the ball to hit the sand, but making contact with the back of the club. And that's how it's done. Now for the hardest shot in golf, it's really not going to be much different than the average one. We're just going to pick a longer club and make a fuller swing. So I've got a 54-degree sand wedge, and as we talked about the bounce earlier, this one has 12 degrees of bounce. So it's going to come out easier even than the shorter one. And that should get you out of the bunker and onto the green every time. This is Golf 101.
With just 2 more events on the horizon and the race to the top 5 on everyone's minds, the final round at the Cape Breton Open just might be a microcosm of what's to come, with the best playing their best. 54-hole co-leaders Robbie Shelton and Hunter Stewart are solid from the start. Plodding along with pars, Shelton caps off his front 9 run with a birdie to make the turn at 14 under, one behind his playing partner Stewart, who posts 3 birdies and a bogey to get to 15 under for the tournament. Kramer Hickok also plays a clean frontside, picking up 2 birdies to pull even with Shelton at 14 under. But it's Kentucky's Patrick Newcomb who makes an early run. After an eagle at 4, he adds 3 more birdies to his card and closes out the front 9 with a 2-stroke advantage.
I got off to a great start, but perfect scoring conditions today. It's soft out there, the greens were soft, pins were pretty fair where you could really get at them.
The final 9 holes of the Cape Breton Open mirror the first 9, as conditions toughen down the stretch. Order of merit leader Robbie Shelton is steady, picking up birdies at 12 and 13 to get to 16 under par. He posts a bogey-free 69, closing out his time in Nova Scotia in a tie for second alongside Kramer Hickok. Hickok grabs 2 more birdies on the backside to finish with a bogey-free 4 under 68. Managing just an even par back nine run, Hunter Stewart finishes with a 2-under par 70 and settles in a tie for 4th. Playing with the lead, Patrick Newcomb continues to strike. A birdie at 12 gives him a 3-stroke advantage, but he follows that up with an eagle at 13, all but sealing the victory.
Things have to go your way. Things really went my way today. Had a couple great pitches, that were going to be easy tap-in pars, and they happened to fall in the hole. So, when you have stuff like that happen, it just makes for a special day and a special win.
Already a winner on the Mackenzie Tour this season, the 27-year-old caps off victory number 2 with a birdie on the 72nd hole.
Winning, that was the whole point of coming up here. I've been playing super well and been putting myself in the hunt early in tournaments a lot. So I just kind of tried to keep that this week and finally caught fire here on Sunday.
He becomes the first multi-time winner this season and moves into 3rd on the order of merit and in position to earn Web.com Tour status for 2018.
Beating great players, means a lot, but for me, it's been about staying within myself, staying patient, because I've been striking the ball so well. I think I can beat anybody. You have to think that way, that you can beat anybody at any time.
As the top 5 begin to separate themselves from the pack, the race for number 1 heats up. Max Rodloff hangs on to 5th with a T20 finish in Cape Breton. After missing the cut in Nova Scotia, Johnny Ruiz drops back into 4th, while Patrick Newcomb moves up 3 spots into the 3rd position with the win. Robbie Shelton climbs up 1 spot with a T2 finish behind Kramer Hickok, who is steadily padding his lead after 4 top 10 finishes, including a victory at the Players' Cup earlier this season. On the next episode of This is the Mackenzie Tour PGA Tour Canada, the race for the 5 heats up as the season winds down. We trek back west for a brand new event, the Ontario Championship hosted by National Pines Golf Club. We'll see you then.